And we're going to welcome into the show Forrest, his page on Facebook, Baseball History Dork. How are we doing tonight, Forrest?
Oh, we're doing just dandy. How are you, gentlemen?
Doing pretty well. So, Forrest came up with a segment for us, baseball bats through history. So, a lot of talk about the torpedo bats like early on this season. And he threw this idea out, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And as I was looking through this before he came on, I was like, this is pretty amazing. I can't wait to hear some of these. So Forrest is going to walk us through some of the baseball bats that were legal, by the way, correct?
Some of them not so much.
All right. Well, anyways,
it's fine. Yeah, we're gonna live in the gray here a little bit. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean we do anyways, so yeah, it's fine. But all right, so we'll kick it off with this one, Forrest. Go ahead.
So, I mean, I want to preface this by just saying that you're absolutely right. This was definitely inspired by the whole thing with the torpedo bats, and I want to say I'm not necessarily a Yankees fan, and I'm also not one of those guys that automatically jumps all over them for whatever they do, or But earlier this season, when the torpedo bat situation arose, I thought it was kind of interesting to kind of sit back and see how people were kind of like, oh, look at the Yankees, they're obviously cheating and MLB is letting it happen. I thought that was really amusing. So it did inspire this bit. First one you got there is the ring style bat, and that one goes back to the latter part of the 19th century. And I don't know is there any way to zoom in on the picture that we have there, or is that just kind of what it is?
That's kind of what it is.
Kind of what it is. It's hard. You can't make it any larger.
Because maybe you can see the rings on that bat kind of cover what you'd call today the sweet spot. And I really wanted to think that those rings on those bats were just kind of a way to mark the sweet spot, so the batters would kind of line it up as they swung. Turns out it has nothing to do with that, really. Some of the biggest 19th century baseball history dorks I know have not really been able to give me a clear answer as to what they were for, but it turns out that really all it was about was just aesthetic and maybe to identify the bat, identify whose bat was whose. So maybe not the greatest story in the world, but those bats, some of them are really, interesting aesthetically.
Was it just painted on, or was it like a sleeve? You like almost like a bat donut, or like what? Do you know?
No, that was painted on.
It was just painted.
Some of them might have had some grooves that were, lathed in, but I think it's mostly just the paint or a burn mark.
I remember, and they still sell them. They used to sell those rubber rings, Nick, that you could slide down the bat. It would actually dampen the vibration.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I remember using it one time. I thought it was weird, and I took it off. But it was like a really skinny ring, not quite the size of a bat weight. But they would actually minimize the vibration, which maybe. But to me, it looks like they're swinging a bat weight. That's what it's like. You're warming up with it, and you just never took it off. You went up and swung with it anyways.
Kind of, but yeah, it's just the bat.
It's just painted on
the way it was.
Interesting. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, instead of putting permanent marker at the end of the knob, they just painted different style rings on their bats to determine whose was whose. That's cool.
Yeah.
You personalize your bat right where everybody can see it.
Yep. Yeah. Then we got another 19th century gem here, the flat bat, and this was actually legalized in the National League between 1885 and 1893. It was first suggested by Harry Wright, one of the godfathers of professional ball, really, that they legalized it in the National League, and worked out for a few years there. Assisted players in bunting, and it kind of, I guess, it lowered the amount of foul tips and allowed the player to hit the ball more squarely, but it also splintered more than your standard. So I guess that's probably most of the reason it was kind of done away with. Plus, it's they say that hitting a round ball with a round stick is one of the hardest things to do in sports. So they probably figured, well, be a man. Either you're going to do it or you're not.
Yeah.
Let's not make it easier on you. Let's make it harder.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right. Yeah, I was gonna ask. I was like, there's no way that the durability of this bat would stand up over time. You don't get it on the sweet. Even if you do get it on the sweet spot, it would just look like it would absolutely splinter or shatter.
Yeah, it's like an ore.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that there were some bats that were your standard round on one side and then just flat on the other. I could be wrong about that. It seems like I've seen that.
Yeah.
So my daughter has one of those little sets with the tee and the balls go with it, and it's got that yellow bat that's exactly that. It's the round back and the flat front. Looks exactly like this, and I love that bat. I feel like such a slugger when I'm swinging that thing because everything is crushed.
That's crazy.
Although I'm pretty sure all of us as kids we found like some broken tree branch that like looked somewhat like that, and I would go hit acorns in the woods with it. Those are good bats.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. And speaking of making it harder or making it easier to play ball, the banana bat, Nick, I know you're looking forward to this one.
Yep, for sure.
Sure you both are, but we had a chat about that the other day. This one was patented in 1890 by a man named Emil Kinst, I believe his name was. And it was meant to help the hitter put more spin on the ball, because what Mr. Kinst actually said was that he wanted to make the game more difficult and therefore more interesting. So, I think whatever that would have accomplished would have been more interesting than the home run derby.
You're right.
But I don't know what it would have accomplished though, because I don't know. To me, it's been said that it looks like it would be like swinging. Like what did you mention earlier? A highlight bat.
Yeah, highlight, just like what they whip those huge, crazy velocity out of, and then they catch them and then throw them off the wall again. That's what it looks like to me. But
well, to me, it's like, I don't know if you've ever tried to swing a golf club horizontally, but I don't feel like it's real easy to do because of that weight on the end, and with that curved end, it just seems like, I don't know how you play baseball with a bat like this. And
and how do you swing it? Like, do you swing it with the ball coming into like the part that's indented, the part that's like sticking out? Do you have that part like is it looping down? Like,
I think it depends if you want to hit it inside out or if you want to pull the ball.
Yeah, it's almost like you could hold the bat in different ways to make contact in different ways and get the ball to go different directions or spin different ways. Yeah. It's a strategic bat versus an actual regular bat.
Gives you options. It was never used in the major leagues, as far as I can tell, and I don't even know if it was ever used in the minors. And to me, it looks like something that the obviously with the name, the Savannah Bananas, you'd think they'd want to take a look at something like this and see how it goes.
Right. That'd be incredible.
It's funny you say that. When I Googled banana bat earlier before we went on, that's what I came to first, was like the yellow bat that's got all the design on it that the bananas sell.
Mm-hmm. And I've actually heard that they're considering a banana shaped bat, but you want to take it a little farther away from, a little farther into the Harlem Globetrotters territory.
Yeah,
they're already the beaten path enough.
Right. Yeah. This would be wild, like you said, to kind of like bring it into All-Star Weekend. Feel like they have to hit with all these different kinds of bats. Like you can modernize them, so like they're using the hard maple or whatever, but like use a flat bat in a home run derby, or use this banana bat.
Could you imagine a home run derby with maple banana bats?
That'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely incredible.
I feel like with this bat, you don't want to hit the ball. You want to more kind of like catch it and fling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like lacrosse.
Yeah.
What it is?
Yeah,
catch the ball,
absolutely.
Chuck it to your teammates. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So here we got the, I believe it's referred to as a double knob handle bat, and it was first made by Wright and Ditson Bat Company, and the Wright in the company name is George Wright, the aforementioned Harry Wright's brother. It was meant to give more control over the bat, good for bunting. The top knob, it kind of gives you an option. You can either hold it as usual, or you can hold higher up on the bat and still have something to rest your bottom hand on. And then the top hand, business as usual. There's different double-handled bats with the second knob at different intervals and different places on the bat, but I think this one's fairly standard. It just gives you a little bit of a higher up spot to put that hand, and more control over the bat, good for bunting, like I said. And it was often called the Lajoie bat because Napoleon Lajoie was probably one of the biggest proponents of the bat. And a lot of those guys that were slap hitters in the 1910s, 1900s probably used these quite a lot, but Napoleon was the big dog.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of no difference than what we saw Ellie De La Cruz use last year, but he kind of put it at the end. He had like that knob extender where he can like put his bottom hand like over the knob, but still technically on the knob, I guess, a little bit. But then to move that second one up the handle, like if Ty Cobb was famously hit with that split grip, he would probably want that knob maybe underneath his top hand.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. That's cool.
Was Ellie using one of those hockey puck bats? You know what I mean?
It wasn't one of the. Yeah, it wasn't one of the puck bats. He actually had a little adapter, a little extender that gave him. It didn't extend the bottom knob, but it did is it was like a It created the smaller piece where his pinky finger could wrap around it, but be underneath the actual knob itself.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I can't remember who they were playing, but they had an issue with it because
somebody pointed it out and they made him take it off and
then proceeded to hit a bomb after, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he's used it since, but
no.
Did it turn out to be illegal for a time anyway?
It was pre-approved by the league, so he had been using it, and then somebody pointed it out. The umpires weren't sure, so they made him take it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's awesome.
All right. Now we got Heins Bottle Bat here. Heine, I believe it's Heine Grohl. He used the bat from about 1913 to 1927. It was manufactured by Spalding, and this was he had very small hands apparently, and so he needed a bat with a very thin handle. And just kind of paint a picture for you. He's using this bat with a very small handle. He stood at the plate with both feet facing directly towards the pitcher, right at the front of the batter's box. And as you can see here, he's got this bat that looks like a wiffle ball bat. It's real thin handle, and then it's 17 inches of all barrel, just no taper whatsoever. And,
that's insane.
Yeah, and like I said, he used it for 15 years, something like that. It was completely illegal. He batted .292 with it on the career. So
it reminds me of that red plastic bomb bat we used to use as kids. Had like the big, massive barrel and the little tiny handle.
Yeah,
I had one of those.
Yeah, is that barrel regulation size? Like that just seems huge.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was any bigger than the normal. It's just that it didn't taper, so it looks. Something doesn't look right there.
Yeah, it just looks massive. It looks like it's nothing but barrel.
It must have been heavy though. There's no taper, because I mean that's where you get a lot of the weight out of the bat is tapering it down to the handle. I can't imagine that thing was light, but I mean those guys swung 60-ounce bats anyways back then.
Yeah, you'd think that with all that weight up top, if he made contact a certain way, that's going to shatter. The handle's going to.
Yeah.
I would think that bat would break a lot.
Yep. Or the ball goes 600 feet, one of the two.
One of those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
most of these guys back in
yeah.
that time were swinging telephone poles. This was just a different variation of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Yeah, that bat looks totally illegal. Like, shouldn't be able to use it. It's crazy.
Speaking of all this, did you guys know that the 42-inch limit for the length of a bat, that guideline's been around since 1869?
Oh, dang.
Wow,
Did
I didn't
not
know
know
that.
that.
Yeah. read
So
that
I
the other
actually,
day.
well, I just heard when we had Jesse LaCase on talking about the torpedo bats a couple weeks ago. Like, he was telling us all about the regulations that he has to, get the billets down. So the billets are like the chunk of wood that the bats are made out of. And he has to start with the maple ones. He has to start with 110 ounces and somehow shave 70 ounces off that thing to get it down to a bat.
Wow.
So it was wild listening to him talk about like the bats and the torpedo bats. But
Yeah, and some of them can get as low as like 86 ounces for a billet, just based on the type of wood and what it can actually handle. But
yeah,
the whole bat standardization and bat making process, and I'm sure back in this day where it was there were no machines to do it, these were probably all handmade. Must have been wild to go through all that.
yeah.
What does Jesse do with all those wood shavings?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Why, you in the market for some sawdust?
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Well, I can send him a message. We'll figure it out.
Just curious.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably got a big pile of them out back.
Oh, for sure.
All right. So we got here Leon Goose Goslin, not Rich Goose Gossage. This striped bat here, I've never seen. I mean, he used it once, and I don't know, maybe it was destroyed. I've never seen a colorized or picture of it in color, but I've been told that it was black and white and possibly green stripes. And I guess the story goes that he was in a slump that spring, and the team secretary of the St. Louis Browns, who he was playing with at the time, had this bat made, especially made for him. And I guess the idea was that it would distract the pitchers and, therefore help him break out of his slump. But I don't know. I mean, unless they're staring at it before they throw the pitch, I don't know how it's really going to distract the pitcher too much. But that's the story anyway. And, as you guys know, you both played ball. I think you probably both know that in baseball, as in life, sometimes it just takes goofing off a little bit to break out of a funk. And he took that bat, as far as I know, he took the bat into a game once, and the umpire immediately said, no. So he put it away, but he still ended up having a pretty decent season. It was one of his lesser seasons, although he actually hit 299. So
Dang.
I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah. It's crazy now because, I mean, Players Weekend, they can use pretty much any type of bat they can think of, painted all these
bat that looks like a
different colors
pencil.
stuff. Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's like I think of like the Mother's Day bats where they do the pink for breast cancer awareness. Those bats are so bright.
Yeah.
Those are like special occasions. I mean, do they have anything? I mean, is there anyone that can use a bat that's anything like this all season long, or is it just?
I think the only rules MLB has, it has to be solid colors. You can't have like all these variations. You can have like the handle and barrel be different colors, but otherwise it's got to be solids, whatever color it is.
Oh, okay. I can't have one of those bats that's got like anime cartoons on it.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I think only for the special events can you do anything crazy. The pink
Yeah.
bats, the
Or,
Little League World Series, they do
yeah.
they did the pencil bats, right?
Yeah, stuff like that. So, but that's
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, so that's
That's kind of cool.
all I got to say about that one, I guess. And then Norm Cash. This is a pretty popular story. I think most people have heard about the day Norm Cash and the Detroit Tigers were getting obliterated by Nolan Ryan. He was on his way to, I believe, his second career no-hitter and he struck out 17 Tigers that day. And with 2 outs in the 9th inning, Norm Cash came up to the plate with a table leg that he had taken off a table from back in the clubhouse. And so he's up there at the plate, and he's taking his practice swings. And the umpire, the home plate umpire, Ron Luciano, who had a great sense of humor, he notices it. And you can see, if you watch the videotape, you can see Luciano is just losing it. I mean, he's walking away from the plate. He's doubled over. But I guess he told Cash to put it away, and Cash just, well, I'm not going to get a hit anyway. Why does it matter?
Right.
But he put it away, and then he did pretty much what I think he expected he was going to do. He popped up and ended the game.
Yeah.
Probably thought he was going to strike out, actually, but he made contact.
Well, that's a pretty good statement about Nolan Ryan when the guy goes up with a table leg. He's like, I'm not going to hit anyways, so at least make it entertaining.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like that's the part of baseball I love is like these guys are still kids out there playing a little kid's game, right? And when someone's dominating you like that, it's just like, all right, like what can I do to bring some light to the situation, because we're getting demolished by this dude right now. Like that's hilarious. That story's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah.
Dang.
So I had to throw that one in there. And that concludes my trip through time.
Yeah, absolutely love it.
Yeah, the striped bat just makes me think of the fact that like players will do anything to try to get an advantage. If I think I can distract the pitcher or at least make him think about something, like I'll do it. Like I'll do something silly, like bring a striped bat to the plate to try to change up my luck.
Heck with that, I'm bringing that banana bat up, and the pitcher's just gonna be like, "What the heck is that thing?"
What are you doing?
I mean, there are games I think guys are tempted to go up with no bat and just be like, "Look, I'm not going to get a hit, so just go do your thing."
Yeah, I'm just looking for a 4-pitch walk at this point.
Yeah, just see if you can walk me.
Yeah, crazy. Well, thanks for that, Forrest. That was incredible. Can't wait for your next installment, whatever it may be. But this was awesome to kind of walk through this.
With something.
Yeah, and make sure if you've not checked out Baseball History Dork on Facebook, check it out. Forrest has some of the best stories. I learn something new on that page every week, with all the trips down the various rabbit holes of history and all the cool stories. So we appreciate the work, Forrest.
Yes, I appreciate that, and you guys are doing excellent work too. Congratulations on your 10,000 followers. I think you've developed a great community here. People of all levels of knowledge of baseball, and they all come here because they love it, and they all come here because you're very interactive, and they feel like they're a part of something here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And that's what we're going for. Like, we want to build a community of baseball fans. Like, we're not media. We're not, associated with the MLB in any way. We're just like you. We're just like all the other fans. Like, we love talking about the game and every aspect of it. And we want to bring people in to talk about the game we all love. So it's been great. So yeah. All right. Well, thanks again. We'll see you in a couple weeks, I am sure. And
probably.
Can't wait to see what you bring to the table, leg, next time.
All right, man.